My biggest belief is that art says what words can't. It really is a way of saying something without having to physically say it. There's so many pieces of artwork that I've done recently that have literally been a physical manifestation of me coping with something or processing an emotion that I don't quite understand. So I've always been into art ever since I was a little kid. I've always been into makeup, art, anything creative that I could get my hands on. When I was in high school, I was into very figurative sort of works, and then went through university, studied for about 3.5 years. That made me change my art style quite dramatically because they sort of break you down and then build you back up again. I'd definitely say that the difference between high school and university, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced it as well. It just feels so cutthroat. Like, it's just, you go from being a child instantly being thrown into being an adult, and there's all these expectations that are thrown upon you, and you may not be particularly prepared for it. I went straight from high school into university, and then 6 weeks in and I was like, I can't do this. So my mental health was pretty terrible by that point as well. I got quite suicidal at the time, and I was going through quite a lot of mental health care, so both group therapy and personal therapy. I think I got to a point at the end of the year where I just woke up one day and I was like, this is exhausting. I'm so tired all the time. I was like, it's not just mentally draining, but it's just physically draining as well. And it was just getting to the point where everything was just feeling stretched and I was tired. I was so over it. I was blessed enough at that point to have been forced into group therapy, and there were a lot of tools that they were teaching us. I was really reluctant and I didn't want to learn them at the time. But I think because I had had that pivotal moment, it made me a lot more receptive to what we were learning, and I still had that support network. And I started actually absorbing what was being taught to me and starting to use tools in order to sort of get through it. So body image has always been something that's been really prevalent, both good and bad, for me over the years. Something that I think any millennial will say that they've grown up with a little bit of propaganda around body image and that sort of thing. I feel like, you go through moments where body image is really good and then other days not so good, and I think that's just the nature of human being. But I do like to talk about it and let other people know that, they're not alone in the way that they feel about their bodies. So the piece behind me, it's got a few layers to it. It was one of the first pieces that I had done when getting back into art that was oil-based painting. It does have a little bit of makeup in there as well, just because that's part of who I am. But it's also on a piece of board that was gifted to me by my deceased grandfather. So it was during a time where it was my first time coming off the pill, and I had felt so many hormonal changes in myself. I felt a sense of freedom, of almost like colour in my life, and I wanted to sort of express that. I felt more edgy, raw, undone. I felt more empowered in my own body, and that's where that piece of work has sort of come from. It was just this, oh my gosh, I forgot how good I felt just being myself.